Hi guys, Tim with Swing Yard here. Today we're going to be doing another club review, and specifically we're going to be talking about the TaylorMade Qi10 LS driver. LS stands for low spin. This is a driver that's typically going to be created for players that are usually a lower handicap but can generate a lot of that club head speed on their own. Extra spin will make the ball go higher. So if you have a lower swing speed, you want the ball to go higher. If you have a higher swing speed, you actually want to control the height of it. This will help with workability as well. Lower spin, if you have too much spin, any sort of little draw or fade is actually going to be magnified by more spin. It also has the adjustable weight in the back. You can kind of see it. I have mine set to kind of a draw bias. And one of the last things I'll mention here is do your research on your shafts, guys. The shaft is one of the most important parts of a driver. There's different flexes, there's different weights. This is what's going to help determine and modify some of the spin rates, the launch angles. Make sure you do your research on that. I'm not going to get more into it in this video. But I currently have mine, which is a 9.0 driver, kind of set to just above the lower. Now, one of the issues I face with this setup is that I sometimes don't get the ball high enough. And so I'm working hard to try and get the vertical launch angle to be anywhere from 11 to 14. And sometimes, but if I change those settings, I end up producing too much spin, which is something I don't want. So why don't we hit a couple balls here? We'll talk about some of the statistics on the screen. That's a little push, but I want to talk about some of the numbers on the screen while that finishes up. So if you look in the top right, and I'm looking at a different monitor here, if you look at the top right, we see 2,550 spin. That's pretty good. That's probably about the top of where I want to be in spin. Anywhere from 1,800 to 2,500 is pretty good. And you can see on that one, in the lowest right box, the VLA, 12.0. Great. So that's the angle at which the ball is leaving the club. 12.0 is pretty good. I'd love to have it a little bit higher, and I'd get more yardage out of that. But that's a pretty good control. On the PGA Tour, they always talk about peak height, which is on here, but I don't care about peak height. I want to know the spin rate, and I want to know the vertical launch angle. We have an article on our website called Optimal Driver Launch Angle. It'll kind of explain how, if you have the right height and spin, you're going to get the most out of your drives. Why don't I hit another one here? We can see what the stats look like. See if I can't push one like I did last time. There we go. That would be a fairway for me. Okay, same thing as before. Now, notice that one's going a little bit farther, okay? 2,100 spin, 11.9 VLA. Again, just a little bit low, but those are great numbers right there, and that's why I'm getting 311 out of that total. You can see that on the middle box. One of the nice things about the Qi10 LS is that it's got a very nice hot face. It's not one of the longest drivers in terms of, the distance you're going to get out of it, but it's very forgiving. That's kind of what it's known for. Now, the LS is not going to be as forgiving as the Qi10 Max. That driver is going to produce a bit more spin, allow you to control it a little bit. It's going to go higher, which is an easier ball to control. I'm going to try and hit a little fade on this one. That's actually a good example of a bad swing. If you look in the top right, 3,600 total spin. I would not be happy with that. And notice I lost about 30 yards as a result of that. My ball speed was actually higher, but I lost 30 yards because my spin was too high. Now, to be very clear, that's not a result of the driver's problem. That was a bad swing. Let's hit one last one here. See if I can just kind of hit this one straight. Try and hit this one a little bit higher, just to kind of show you guys the difference. Okay, 12.7, 2,600, but you're getting decent distance. So there you have it, guys. You can hear it. It's a solid club. It is very forgiving. It's a little bit more of the expensive club, but that's what you're going to get out of TaylorMade. And but now this is a year-old model, so you can buy it used, which is what I'd recommend. If you have any comments about this, let me know. If you want to see me shank some more balls like I just did, let me know. but I love talking golf. So if you guys have any questions, hit me in the comments. Otherwise, follow us at swingyard.com or any of the social channels. Appreciate it, guys. Have a good rest of your day.